Thank you. Mrs. Anderson.
As you know, Commissioner, my party Sinn Féin has been arguing for a more joined-up approach on the policy of innovation, research and development in Ireland, both north and south. And as a low-performing area, only 424 companies out of a business base of 70,000 invest in R&D in the north of Ireland, and many of the SMEs have no understanding or awareness of their eligibility to take part or to avail of the opportunities. So therefore, while Invest NI without doubt has much more to do to increase that awareness, and actually I think they need to look quite closely at what Enterprise Ireland has been doing so that we can avail of the opportunities. I would like to hear more about how SMEs are going to understand the simplification process that you talked about, the flexibility that you said is going to be applied. What role do you see the Commission will have in facilitating the increased engagement of SMEs, particularly, I have to say, in a low-performing area like the north of Ireland? And in particular, do you see a strategic role for the Commission in encouraging and facilitating and encouraging an all-Ireland synergy in this area? Thank you. Go míle maith agaibh.
Mrs. Anderson. I very much understand the challenges that there are in Northern Ireland in the whole area of research and innovation. And it was one of the first visits that I made, in fact, when I became a Commissioner, was to Northern Ireland to explain to ministers and officials the real opportunities that there were for funding under the Framework Programme and for applying, for getting companies and researchers to apply for funding under the research programme. And I'm very pleased at what I've seen happening over the last 18 months, in that there is a real engagement from the authorities in the Northern Ireland, from the First Minister, Deputy First Minister down, engaging here in Brussels, engaging in Belfast with those of us who have gone over to work with the executive, and indeed yourselves and each of your colleagues that are here from Northern Ireland working with the Northern Ireland Office representation here in Brussels. I think Northern Ireland is like quite a number of areas of the European Union where the information didn't get across really well. So that, I think, is the first thing, that Invest Northern Ireland plus ourselves in the Commission and yourselves as public representatives have a role to play in explaining what is available, how you go about applying. For many, up to now, they felt that the rules were just too complicated. It was too much trouble. And in good times, obviously, they applied to their own governments, their own authorities. That day has passed now, and they're coming back to the European Union. So I think there is an onus on us to communicate what's available, to explain how to apply, to organise for them to come and visit here, to meet those people in the Directorate General that are involved in the various areas, whether it's health or energy or agriculture or fisheries, whatever the area might be that's of interest. I think also it's important for Northern Ireland to look at its own strengths and say, what areas are we really strong in? And if we're going to be smart and if we're going to specialise, then we should specialise in those particular areas. And I think that's really a process that is happening at the moment. The simplification, I think, will be crucial for SMEs. You know, a one-stop shop where they don't have to submit applications in triplicate, where they understand exactly that the red tape has been cut, that in relation to costs that there will be a new system in place. So all of the elements of simplification that we did ourselves, all the elements of simplification that the Parliament helped us with in the revision of the financial regulation, for example, and other simplifications that will come when Horizon 2020 is finally approved. I think all of that is an indication of how serious we are in the Commission of really this time having a true simplified procedure, simplified application framework available, so that brings more and more people into the programme.
Mrs. Anderson.
I look forward to working well with your officials particularly by way of sharing the kind of information that we need to get across to the SMEs. And as a junior minister who attended that meeting when you very much put it on the table about the opportunities that exist for the North and how those need to be maximised. So I hope that we can organise such a visit for the SMEs, and I would like to play a part in that. Now, recognising the benefits of and from the synergies that exist that should allow business and the higher education and the Public Research Institute to benefit from the strategic framework of Horizon 2020. And I'm thinking of the research institute like CITRIC in my own area where I live in Derry, and many, many others. Then I would like to know, in terms of the Commission, what we could do to even maximise those synergies in terms of Horizon 2020, so that when I am encouraging the SMEs to come to here and hopefully being involved in organising such a visit, that we can share that kind of information with them.
Yes, I think sharing of information is crucially important, and showing them, which we can help you with, the elements of simplification that are particularly directed at SMEs. Because any time you simplify, an SME is truly delighted that that has happened. We also will have in place an SBIR-like instrument, as they have in the United States, which again is crucially important for SMEs. We will have the financial instrument that I talked about earlier, the risk-sharing instrument, which is targeted at SMEs. And we will also have the national contact points, which are there already for SMEs, but they obviously will be reinforced. So I think there are a lot of elements there that are particularly directed at SMEs. We had a target in the last framework programme of 15% of the funding going to SMEs. As you know, in January we passed that target and we were very pleased. Last year we passed that target and we were very pleased with it. We have proposed a target in Horizon 2020. I'm sure that that will be one of the elements of the discussions in the trialogue. But we're very conscious of bringing more and more SMEs to the table and into the framework programme.
Thank you. Mrs. Gál-Pelcz.